Good morning. So last night I got half of the blades cut. I'm gonna just worry about those for right now and see how far along I get, and if I need to come back in and cut those ones, then that's all good. And then I also taped up the visor because I'm going to be finally priming this today. Alright, so that is now completely primed, so that is all of the priming it's getting done. It was just a layer of black spray primer, so that is now drying. And then I did a bit more work on the arm blade things, so I engraved some of the detail and I installed the posts for the feather blade things. And what I'm going to do now is cover these in one layer of Warbler just to harden everything up, and then continue on with the other detail pieces up here. It is the end of the day, and here are how things are looking. So as you can see, I have one of the van braces almost finished. There is still a couple of details, like engraving details and stuff, to go in it still, but that is pretty much finished. It has the slider part in it, so this is one of the screw things that I've been using. And I'm actually going to be replacing this one, so that's not completely finished yet. And then it's got an aluminum plate, and then these two are going to hopefully be the things, and hopefully this whole setup works, the things that hold the aluminum sheets that go to the fans, like the blades, that's how they go in and out. And then these are the bottom of the blades, which I drilled the holes in, and they fit in super nicely. I worked all day yesterday, but I didn't film any of it because these were creating an absolute catastrophe. They're still not finished, and I will go into this in more detail in a bit because I need to get some different things before I can finish it off. So this one's not getting completely finished right now. 3 out of the 5 blades on the first one are finally attached, but like I said, I will go into that later. But what I'm doing right now is I have sanded this entire thing, I channeled out the blade part of the Electro Ripper, and now I am adding the LED strip. So I'm hot gluing that in and then diffusing it, and then finally adding the switch box to the Electro Ripper as well, and then that will be ready to be painted basically. Righty, so the switch box is installed and the LEDs are on. There is right now 1, or actually 2 layers of tracing paper around them to kind of diffuse the light. But what I'm going to do right now is tape up the light strip and then spray paint this entire thing, because what I'm going to do eventually for the light strip, but I can't do it right now until the rest of it's painted, is take the tubing that I've been using and kind of create a cap with it. I've frosted a part of the tubing already, but I'm going to probably be putting more tracing paper on it as well, just to help diffuse the lights and also protect them. So yeah, I'm gonna masking tape the light strip up and then spray paint this entire thing glossy aluminum, apparently. And that is what that looks like. That is like full-blown Tin Man, which I'm not sure if that's good or bad. I might have to, I know I'm gonna have to paint over certain areas, I just don't know how much. It's a good priming coat though, so yeah. That is what that looks like so far. I'm gonna have to let that dry and then paint the other side. It is a couple hours later now, and this van brace is now fully prepped for the blades to go on it. I've already drilled the holes in those, but I figured I would be much farther along. But I figured now I would explain the woes of yesterday. So this is the one that I was originally working on, and as you can see, these are my notes. And the only measurements that worked out are these 4. So basically, in theory, I think I explained this somewhat in my last Project Enfys video, but originally, so on this, originally there were 2 posts, like one here and one here, because I figured that the 10 points of contact, like here on the aluminum, wouldn't fit on one pole. So I was going to have like this side be on this post, and then there was a post up here, and then have like this side be on that post. So I figured out how far each one should be from the center, and then I figured out the difference in the measurement between the 2 points for each side, which is what this chart was. And I could not get them for the life of me to match up. Like, one would be like this far out and the other one would be like way over here. So I said, forget this, let's just try and put them all on one point, which is what this is. So I got the first one perfectly fine down on one point. The second one, like, these were my original measurements, like I just fanned them all out the way I wanted them, and then I measured each blade from the center of the actual van brace to the center of the blade. And so they were my original measurements. So first one, perfectly fine. Second one, it was way too close to the first one. So it's like, great, what's wrong now? I think I put 3 or 4 holes trying to figure out the right size because, like, it just was not working. So it's like, okay, I got up to the point that the next, actually they aren't my original measurements, those are my original measurements. So the first one was 2, the next one was 3. So it's like, okay, it's going up by 1 inch then, that means the next one should be 4. Not a chance. The next one, I don't even think that measurement actually ended up working. So that was the next, forget this. And I decided, like, for the amount that each blade was increasing, it was like quadrupling the previous measurement. So by the time I got to the 3rd blade, it was going to be like a 10-inch long piece of aluminum. Like, it was going to run out of space, basically. So then it was like, forget that. So what the plan now is that the first 2 are on this middle post, but then the remaining 3 are on this lower post. And what I've been having to do, because none of the measurements I can get to work, is I've been making these, I don't even know if there's one around here because the desk is a mess, as you can see. I've been making these like paper, yeah, like this one. I've been making these paper aluminum fake rod things to measure out and see if it actually ends up being far out enough. And even those, I've been having to constantly adjust them. Like, this is my notes about how far I've like guesstimated, and then these are the final measurements. So I still need to figure out one, but there's a lot of hardware that I need to change over for this stuff. I need to change this post to be shorter, which I'm not sure why it's a longer post right now. There are helicopters, of course. I don't even know if you can hear those. And then the other thing is, right now there are these 1¼ inch metal washers, and I'm going to need to, like, it works great right now. I would show you, but both hands are, like, I need 2 hands to open it up right now. But it works awesome, which is great. The problem is, like, with these metal washers, it is ridiculously heavy. Because there are 16 metal washers, I think. So tomorrow, hopefully, I'm going to go out and see if I can find nylon, like, spacer washer things like these that are big enough. If not, I'm going to be making a horrifying amount of Warbler washer things to fill up the gaps. But yes, it is going well, I just can't continue to work on it. And I planned on, like, basically working all night tonight, so I'm actually going to go inside and show you what the next project of the night is going to be. Alright, so I know I filmed drawing up the template for the tabblers, but I don't think I actually showed assembling it. But yeah, as you can see, that is the template. And these are the 2 tabblers that I now need to paint. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be looking at the colors. I gotta figure out what the center of these is first and mark that with some chalk, and then work at figuring out where the different lines are on the fabric. Here is everything taped up, and I've grabbed my materials that I'm going to use. So right now I'm just going to be doing the brown stripes up here as well as the single orangey-ish coral stripe. So the brown is going to be this. I normally, like for any kind of cosplay stuff, I just get the cheap Michaels paint, although this one is one of the premium ones. I mean, it's still like $2 a tube or something. Yeah, and then the standard kind. And then I mix that half and half with this fabric medium. I'm not even sure if you can really get this anymore. I know lots of places now sell fabric medium, which is great because you can mix it with any acrylic paint, so you can broaden your color spectrum a lot easier with this stuff. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and put the stripes on. It is the next day. These are now pretty much dry, and I'm actually going to do a second coat of the brown. The orangey bit looks pretty good, but the brown, I'm not sure if you can tell on camera. The brown is a little stripy, like brush strokey. It's not completely opaque, so I'm going to do another coat, see how that looks. If it doesn't really change the appearance, the other side might not get another coat. We'll see. But yeah, going to do another coat of the brown as the first project of the day. There, that's how things are looking. I realized because I wasn't doing the second layer on the orange that I could just remove the tape and start doing the black. So that is on those as well. There is still this stripe, but when you look at the paint job, it looks like it's a wash over the two areas. So assuming nothing else needs a second coat, that will be the final step for the first side of the tabblers. It is a lot later now. But basically, after I painted the stuff, I was running around trying to figure out something to replace. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this last night. But I did have metal washers all in between here to separate the blades, and it just made this thing ridiculously heavy. So I tried to find plastic, like nylon washers. They don't make them very big. Tried to find some other type of plastic disc. And eventually just decided and found these wood discs. So went to Michael's, found those, so I drilled holes in those. Here's the stack for the other one. So yeah, because I then got those all sorted, then I got to put the final blades on. So this thing now is fully together, other than I need to put a piece down the middle as like a brace. But I will set you down and try and show you this thing and how it opens. So here is the thing closed. You slide this up and boom, fanned out. I think it turned out awesome. It was a pain in the butt to do, and so I'm really glad it works and it looks amazing. But yeah, sliding it down, it's a little stickier, but you can just end up like closing them up, and it's missing the part in the middle. But that will stop these from like crisscrossing and stuff. But yes, I'm super happy with this, and I think tonight, other than, I'm sure you saw, I'm going to do this again. You can see the screws on most of them, so I'm going to probably cover those up. I don't know if I'm going to do that tonight. I think I just might cut the aluminum now that I have the actual measurements that all of these need to be. Cut it, drill it, and then I'm ready to assemble the second one tomorrow. And then I'll just cover the different things then. But yes, here is one of the finished Vam braces. Ah, I'm so glad this works. It's nighttime now and I'm back inside. I got both of the Vam braces completely finished. So the second one, which isn't this one, but the second one got all the blades installed on that, and then on both of them I got these back plates in. So basically these plates help help these, see, they won't overlap anymore. So it keeps them super in line, but it also is going to be how it attaches to the leather armband. So I'm probably going to be cutting out a hole in the middle part here for the strap to go through, but then I'm probably going to drill 2 holes to actually screw it onto the leather armband so that it's super secure. It's also hopefully going to attach down here on these bottom ones. But yes, that was basically what I did all afternoon. I also did the other side, started the other side of the tabler. But now I'm probably going to work on cleaning up the desk because it is a catastrophe. And then I'm probably going to look at priming some of the different things, like these leg blade things. They should get some wood glue put on them. Yeah, mainly priming. I might look at doing a base coat of paint on that. I guess we'll just see, but first thing, I need to clean the desk so that I actually have some desk space to work on. There, I've got the entire first coat of the base skull, just the taupey color on. It actually took a really long time. I think that took me almost 2 hours. So yeah, not the quickest paint job. It is pretty much dry brushed in, because the skull has lots of it's kind of like a dirty skull, it's a very natural looking skull, so I didn't want it to be too perfect, so it's really dry brushed in. But yeah, I'm gonna let that dry and actually stop there for tonight and continue with painting tomorrow. It is a lot later now, and I have been working all day. And what I was mainly working on is adjusting the back of the helmet. There we go. So basically, these lovely figures finally came in, and I'm sure I've mentioned before how there really are not that many reference pictures of Enfys Nest. And one of those things that is non-existent in reference photos is the back of the helmet. About the most detail that you kind of can figure out about the back of the helmet is the bar that goes around the back and just that there's hair coming out of it. So thankfully with these new figures you can see more of the detail. and on the Funko you could kind of see that there are these divot points, but I wasn't about to try and use that as reference, but these other two ones are really good for reference, so I added in those divot points and then the cracks. So basically I just sunk in the pre-existing Warbler and then I added some around the end to create more of the V shape. It was kind of more of a U before, so it wasn't that much adjusting. I did guess pretty well. But yeah, I think tonight I'm just going to work on another layer of this color of paint, which is probably going to take me a while. Obviously this has nothing on it right now. So we're gonna see if I should prime that or not, or if it will just take the paint. I might throw some Mod Podge on it or something, just so that I know the paint's actually gonna stick to it. But yeah, that is the plan for tonight. I've basically just kind of been doing basic things all day. I unassembled the Vambrace blades, so fanned them out so that I could put some wood glue on them to start smoothing them out. So there are the both of those, and then I did a bit of paint work on the helmet, nothing exciting, just working on the base layer pretty much still. And that's actually going to be it for this week's Project Enfys video. Again, like the rest of the day, I'm just kind of doing boring, basic priming and stuff. So nothing too exciting to show you. But yes, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.